Hello, this is Ohfour Mouse, talking about this ref sheet I made this time. I'd never really drawn a ref sheet for Ohfour before, and I thought this would be a good opportunity to do it and kind of refine his design a little bit, make him a bit more fluffy, a bit more furry, I guess. I did a few things differently this time that I'll talk about. So the idea for this is I saw some really good art of some different people drawing how they drew furry mouses. I kind of looked at them and kind of like, oh, I could take some ideas from this, like make it a bit more fluffy, make his tail have some like fur on it. I did that differently this time, and just kind of make him a bit less cartoony, I guess. Even though he's still very cartoony, so I wanted to make him look a bit more three-dimensional, I guess. That makes sense. And I also wanted to like put down some of the ways I draw him, like some of the things I think about when I draw him, like the number of tail stripes he has, which is 7, which you can't see them all from front, and the colors and his eyes and how I draw his hands. And he can have a thumb if he needs to, but usually he just has 3 fingers, just like, I don't know, Patrick Star. I can talk a bit about how I came up with this fursona. So I started doing digital art in 2011, and My Little Pony was what got me into that. I'd never really done digital art before that, never really put art out on the internet for other people to see. But I had always been interested in art and always took like art classes in high school and doodled a lot in my free time on scratch paper or whatever. But when I saw all like this amazing MLP art, this really cool fan art, once I got into that, I was like, I want to do that. So I started doing digital art in GIMP, and didn't start with the tablets, drawing tablets. I started with like, GIMP has these like vector like tools to like make lines and then automatically line them like a vector, and that's how I used for drawing for a long time. And that was a slow process and very limited. Eventually I got the drawing tablet I still use today, which is a Wacom 205 Pro. Still works great. It's a bit beaten up, but functionally it's as good as new. And I can't see myself really getting rid of it for a long time. Really a great purchase. I got into furries through a brony friend I met. He was a furry and invited me to TFF one year, and I went, had a pretty good time. Started going to fur meets locally, and before you know it, here I am. But back then, around 2013, when I became a furry, I had no idea what I wanted to do for fursona. I never really had an avatar when I was a brony. Never had like my own pony sona. I mostly just drew like comics and other dumb ideas, kind of like what I do now, but it is a bit different with existing characters and existing canon and all that. But same kind of idea of what I do now. So around the time I was becoming a furry and I was getting into it and like really want to do it, I found this game called Transformice, which if you know that game and look at my fursona, you'll probably be like, yeah, duh, of course. But Transformice is a really cute online flash game. It's basically a bunch of mice in one platforming challenge, trying to get to the cheese at the end as fast as possible. Now there are different things happen, but that's the main idea of it. And I really love the art of Transformice. It has these really cute mouses that are really chubby, really small feet, really small arms, really small eyes, really big ears. Love it. Absolutely loved how they drew their mouses. And I started doing fan art of my avatar, and I drew him just like he was in game. Drew him pretty dark brown with like a Yoshi eggshell on top of his head and like a little cheese earring. I drew him, pretty small, like he barely had any legs coming off his body. They're like a little stubby, and he had no stripes on his tail. And as I drew him more and more and kind of turned him into my fursona, Ohfour, like he is now. Oh, right here, I'm drawing Ohfour kind of asking for snuggles, cuddles. And I do like stickers like that a lot. end of their packs, but I wanted to do that. Wasn't really super happy with how this drawing turned out. Might go back to this idea later. But for now, it just didn't really fit in space-wise with the final ref sheet I wanted to do. I wanted to make the ref sheet the size of a piece of paper so I could print it out if needed. In any case, I was talking about Ohfour over the years. As I drew him more and more, I drew him with stripes on his tail. I drew him with longer legs and kind of changed his design a little bit to make him a bit more skinnier, taller, bigger arms, bigger eyes, and trying to make him a bit more, I don't know, less cartoony, or different kind of cartoony, I guess. More expressive, more interesting, more able to do different poses like standing on his tiptoes or put one foot up, one leg up. Things like that I wouldn't really be able to do earlier. So as I got better at drawing, or more experienced at drawing, I guess, my style has changed. And my style's gotten consistently more saturated, more bright, more boom, bright colors, bright subjects. He started going from a dark brown to just saturated brown to just orange, like he is now. And that's just the way my style has gone over the years, I guess. I've gotten more bright and light and fluffy, and that's turned into a very bright orange fursona. Another reason I picked a mouse, besides Transform Mice, is I like Transform Mice's art. But as I thought about it, like, what kind of fursona would I have? I like the idea of a mouse fursona because mice, you know, they're small, they're shy, they're quiet. A lot like me, right? And yeah, I kind of modeled Ohfour's personality, just kind of like me, but a bit more amplified, a bit more in your face about being so slutty, so bi. I've drawn him doing art, just like me. I've drawn him being like promiscuous, like come on. And I've drawn him being very bi and very shy and very blushy. And I wrote all those down of like, this is my kind of idea of my fursona is he's a mouse, he's shy, he's small, he's bi, he blushes a lot, he's an artist, and he's slutty. Yeah. Can't do the basics, I guess. Like, I don't know, I like him. He's very small, very cute, very blushy. And, I don't know. I also like the idea of a mouse fursona because mice were kind of unusual. Uncommon fursona type, I guess. Didn't really want to do like a wolf or a fox or a carnivore like that. Didn't really fit me, I don't think. I wanted to be kind of small, out of the way, kind of in the background usually. That's kind of my personality, more or less usually. Kind of like, don't want to be a leader, don't want to be in charge, just want to sit in the back, don't cause any trouble, right? This pose I'm working on right now of Ohfour looking at the viewer, blushing, I really, really liked how that turned out, and ended up taking this pose by itself and making it into a full art piece and kind of added a little bit to it. I ended up taking this out and kind of tweaking it a bit more than I did here to make it a bit more interesting, more finished, more colorful. I changed the shading on this eventually when it was by itself to be a bit more vaporwave, I guess. I don't know. I've seen some people talk about this fursona, this drawing, as a girl, which I could see, I guess. I never really thought about Ohfour looking very feminine. I guess I don't really draw him with any gender-specific identifiers. But here I am, changing the background, changing the shading, how it looks, and doing my signature on it to make it like a full art piece on its own. Adding a bit more detail to the eyes, adding a bit like hearts, in the eyes. And added fuck me eyes and fuck me collar with arrows pointing to it. And come on, we all know that's what he's actually saying, right? With that body language. Oh man. I did want to do this ref sheet so I could just, like, in theory hand this to an artist and say, like, draw this. But I also do enjoy different artists' interpretation of my art, of like, how would you draw this character? And I don't want to stop that. So I added this, like, exact colors and design open to interpretation. So, like, you don't have to draw it this way. You don't have to draw them like orange. You can draw them like dark brown or light brown or whatever. You could draw him with, like, no fur on his hands and, like, 4 fingers if you wanted. You could draw his ears differently. You could draw his eyes differently. Or whatever you want. I like different people's interpretation of it. And this is just how I picture him usually. I picture him pretty cartoony, pretty small, pretty cartoony, yeah. I usually draw him with 3 fingers, unless his, like, pointing or something, like doing finger guns. I'll draw him with the thumb if that's necessary, but otherwise it's usually 3 fingers and very stubby hand. I did add a gradient to make the fur on the orange fur on top lighter than the orange fur on the bottom. Try saying that fast. And I think that just makes him look like he's staying in the sun, I guess. Makes him a bit more bright, makes him stand out a bit more. And I like that. It's a little easy trick to add, like, a gradient to make your art pop a little more. FYI. And I like doing that. I like doing little things like that, like adding a gradient or doing a bit of fur, like going over the line art. Makes him, like, look a bit more 3-dimensional. If, like, I guess his fur is, like, overflowing over the line. Doesn't really make sense in universe, but makes it look a bit more interesting. One other thing I haven't talked about is the name Ohfour. It's kind of a dumb story. In high school, we all had ID numbers. My ID number was 041744. 041744. So I was never really good at naming things or naming myself, making up usernames. So when I got around to making accounts online in high school or whatever, I always use that number for usernames. And of course, when I came to making a fursona, I was like, I had no idea what I wanted to name my fursona. So I went with Ohfour, as in 041744, right? It's a dumb story, but I like it. It's a kind of unique name. It's short, it's unique, it's easy to spell. Well, I guess. Ohfour. Here I am going over the final things, making little notes like, notice this. He wears a collar, he has paw pads, he's small, 3 fingers, 7 tail stripes, can be drawn with a thumb if needed. Also added these little sketches of his hands and feet in a few different positions to kind of figure out, like, this is what it would look like straight on the bottom, or straight on, or on the side. Bit of different ways to draw it. I did add that open to interpretation right there. And that's the final thing. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed this kind of rambling, talking about my fursona. I did enjoy drawing this, and I do enjoy kind of over the years how Ohfour's design has changed and how my art style has changed. And kind of looking over the years of how I've drawn him, it's kind of a good way to see how my style has changed, I think. Anyway, I do hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time.